My name's Sam Bassett. I'm the Digital Care and Innovation Lead for Suffolk County Council, and I lead our portfolio of work around utilising care technologies to support people to achieve better outcomes. People's expectations of digital when you are in your personal life at home and when you come into work seemingly completely disconnected, which I find really curious. You know, like you'll be on your smartphone using like all wonderful apps to have a really smooth and seamless like personal life, and as soon as you come to work, you know, you engage with some antiquated or specific specialist systems which nobody really likes and aren't, you know, really intuitive, but we just take it for granted. Just like, yeah, great, this is what I put up with. So there's a whole cultural piece there around that kind of disconnect between what we do personally and what we do professionally, and how we need to carry some of our assumptions about our personal expectations into our professional lives. So in my environment, in social care, it's really patently obvious. It's not as transactional as other things, so it's not as easy to define, but why couldn't you use the same things and mechanisms which you do in your everyday life to support people to live better? For example, really, you know, simplistically, what would I do about my calendar on my phone every day? I wouldn't know what meetings I'm going to. I wouldn't know, you know, what appointments I have personally. I wouldn't know when to take the bins out, when I've got to pick up my shopping. And yet that simple function could help somebody who has a cognitive issue to remember to take their medication or to make an appointment. I mean, that's a really easy example, but we seem to have this complete break mentally when we go from our professional to personal to personal lives. So that kind of cultural piece is really important, and that's above and beyond specifically for social care and health, particularly the kind of culture around how we've always done things and the way in which we work, and being a kind of an outcome focused service around people. Sometimes change and technology is seen as like a negative thing, when really it's positive, especially in the context of how you use it in your everyday life. But, you know, people's outcomes and their health and their care needs are really important. So once you try to overlay any kind of change or external influence in that, sometimes it's met with resistance. And so when I think about culture and the work that I've done in like the last 3 years, a really supportive enabler for me is putting things in context, just like I gave that example. Okay, well, what do you do in your everyday life? What technology do you use? You know, how do you look at your money? How do you book a holiday? Do you still go down to like the travel agent? Do you go to the bank? Probably not. Why can you do the same thing to help people achieve better outcomes? I think for whatever reason, sometimes people are really scared of technology and change and data. Sometimes that's grounded in reality and what we perceive, you know, in the media, like data, for example, like Cambridge Analytica. But sometimes it's just because people would prefer not to take the time to consider a change because it's more difficult. Nobody likes change. Yeah, it's this really horrible kind of like dichotomy that local authorities have to grapple with, where you only have a finite amount of money and you have to try to use it as wisely as possible, but you have a statutory duty to support people to achieve the best outcome. So on the one hand, you're really focused on trying to give people the best life possible, stay at home, live well for longer, all of that kind of stuff. But then you have to also balance it with, well, we don't have much money, where can we make some savings or efficiencies? And tech allows you to do both of those things, but sometimes it's perceived just from one lens or the other. Most often from, well, it's going to be a panacea and give us lots of savings, which it will do if you use it right, but the other stuff shouldn't be dismissed.